Let me ask you something personal, something real. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, your life keeps pulling you backward? Like you're running in circles, starting over again and again, watching everyone else move forward while you're stuck in the same place? But it's not that you're not trying. It's not that you're not dreaming. You want to grow, you want to evolve, you want to break through. But something invisible keeps holding you back. You can't quite explain it. Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's self-doubt. Maybe it's a voice in your head that whispers, "You're not ready. You're not good enough. You always mess this up." If that sounds like your reality, this video was made for you. Because what's stopping you isn't a lack of talent. It isn't your circumstances. It isn't even failure. It's patterns. Patterns you learn. Patterns you repeated. Patterns you never even noticed were running your life. The same thoughts. The same emotional reactions. The same decisions that lead you back to the same painful places. Over and over again. But here's the truth. You are not broken. You are programmed. And anything programmed can be rewritten. This video is not about hype. This is about transformation. Real, lasting transformation that starts when you finally become conscious of what's been controlling you. Because once you see the pattern, you can disrupt it. And once you disrupt it, you can destroy it. And once you destroy it, you can create something completely new. A new version of you. A new story. A new identity. A new life. So if you're tired of feeling stuck in habits that no longer serve you, but if you're done letting your past control your future, if you're ready to stop chasing change and start creating it, stay right here. Because over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you step by step through what it really takes to break the mental, emotional, and behavioral patterns that have been holding you hostage. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware. You just need to be willing to pause, reflect, and choose differently, one moment at a time. Because once you do that, the grip your past had on you begins to loosen. And the real you, the powerful, focused, disciplined version of you starts to rise. This isn't just another motivational video. This is a wake-up call, a mirror, and a blueprint to finally break free from the cycles that have been limiting your potential for far too long. So take a deep breath, center yourself, and get ready. Because the patterns that held you back, they end here. And the real you begins now. There's invisible chains holding you back. Let me open your eyes to something powerful, something that could change your entire life if you truly understand it. You are not stuck because you're lazy. You are not stuck because you're incapable. And you are definitely not stuck because you lack potential. You are stuck because of patterns. Yes, patterns, repetitive thoughts, predictable habits, familiar emotional responses. They've been running your life on autopilot. And the scary part is you probably don't even realize it. Every day, you wake up with the same thoughts as yesterday. You feel the same doubts, repeat the same worries, and follow the same routines. You react to life the same way you always have, expecting things to somehow improve. But how can anything change if you don't? You see, a pattern is like a program. It's a loop, designed by your past, reinforced by your choices, and held in place by your comfort zone. And even if that comfort zone is filled with pain, it still feels safer than the unknown. That's why so many people live the same year over and over again and call it a life. We stay in relationships we've outgrown. We cling to habits that destroy our confidence. We hold on to beliefs that limit our potential. Why? Because those patterns feel familiar. And familiarity often feels safer than growth. You have to wake up now. Because the longer you stay in these patterns, the harder it becomes to see the way out. You must stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what pattern am I repeating that's creating this result? If you always attract toxic people, there's a pattern. If you always talk yourself out of opportunities, there's a pattern. If you always give up right before the breakthrough, yes, there's a pattern. The good news? Patterns can be broken. They are not chains made of steel, they are made of repetition. And if they were created through repetition, they can be destroyed the same way. But it starts with awareness. You have to catch yourself in the act. Start observing your behaviors, your triggers, your emotional reactions. Start identifying what's serving you and what's silently suffocating your growth. Every single time you notice yourself slipping into an old pattern, pause and ask, is this who I want to be? Is this choice aligned with the future I want to create? Because make no mistake, you are either reinforcing the old version of yourself or you're building the new one. If you want to change your life, you have to disrupt the pattern. You have to stop living the same script and start writing a new one. This isn't about being perfect. This is about waking up. And once you become conscious of your patterns, you're no longer their prisoner. You become their master. The power of self-interruption. Here's the truth that most people never learn in their lifetime. You can't break a pattern by hoping it goes away. You break a pattern by interrupting it on purpose. Your brain is wired to seek familiarity. Even if your habits are unhealthy, even if your thinking is negative, even if your actions are self-destructive, your mind will keep pulling you toward what it knows. Why? Because your comfort zone doesn't care about your growth. It only cares about survival. And the more you repeat something, thinking, reacting, doing, the deeper that groove becomes in your brain. It becomes automatic, a default setting, a behavior that feels like just the way I am. But it's not who you are. It's just a pattern. And patterns can be disrupted. Here's where it starts. You must interrupt the cycle. When you catch yourself about to react in that same toxic way, stop. When you feel yourself going into that spiral of doubt, fear, or procrastination, and you hear that inner voice saying, I can't, I'm not ready, I always fail, challenge it. Don't let it run the show. Speak a new truth in that moment. Get a different action. Do something, anything that breaks the loop. If you usually wake up and scroll social media for an hour, get up and read instead. If you always wait for the right moment, take action before you feel ready. If you always give up when it gets hard, keep going for 5 more minutes. These are interruptions, tiny but powerful. They break the automatic cycle and give you back control. Because nothing changes until you do something unnatural. Yes, unnatural. Growth is uncomfortable because it challenges what feels normal. But your normal is what got you stuck. So if it feels weird, good. If it feels unfamiliar, perfect. That means you're rewriting your identity in real time. And it won't feel good at first. It'll feel awkward. Your mind will resist. Your body will crave the old pattern. But that's exactly when you need to lean in. This is where transformation begins. Not when it's easy, but when you choose differently, while it's still hard. Interrupting patterns is like pulling weeds from your mental garden. It takes effort. It takes repetition. But every time you do it, you're creating space for new seeds to grow. Seeds of discipline, confidence, belief, and power. You don't have to fix everything overnight. And you just have to catch yourself one moment at a time and choose the opposite of what keeps you stuck. You want to break free? Then interrupt your patterns before they interrupt your destiny. That's how change begins. Not tomorrow, not next year, but the very moment you decide to break the cycle, replacing reaction with intention. Let's talk about something that silently controls your life, your reactions. Most people don't even realize it, but the way they react to situations, people, and emotions is not a conscious choice. It's a reflex, a programmed response, a habit learned from years of experience, trauma, fear, or repetition. And here's the problem. When your reactions are automatic, you're not in control. Your patterns are. Someone says something that offends you and you immediately snap back. A challenge comes up and you instantly panic or give up. You feel pressure and you default to procrastination or distraction. That's not conscious living. That's pattern-based living. And as long as you live by reaction, your growth will be limited. But what if I told you there's a better way? What if you could pause, take back your power and respond intentionally? That's the difference between staying stuck in cycles and breaking free. Intention is the antidote to reactivity. You need to train your mind to slow down. When a situation triggers you, don't just act, observe. Ask yourself, is this the version of me I want to keep being? Is this reaction helping me grow or keeping me small? What would the best version of me do right now? That space between the stimulus and your response, that's where your power lives. It doesn't mean you won't feel emotions. It means you'll learn to manage them instead of letting them manage you. It means you'll respond to challenges with clarity instead of chaos. You'll choose to act with purpose instead of impulse. Let's be honest, reacting is easy. Anyone can complain, quit, lash out or hide. But it takes real strength to pause, think and respond from a place of purpose. And when you do that, you stop reinforcing the old you. You start creating a new identity, a person who's calm under pressure, who doesn't fold when life gets hard, who doesn't get shaken by every inconvenience. That's how you start building the emotional intelligence and mental discipline that leads to real change. Start practicing this every day. When you feel triggered, breathe. When you want to run, stand still. When you feel fear, lean in and ask what it's trying to teach you. This is how patterns are broken, not by suppressing your emotions, but by becoming the master of your response. So many people want new results with the same old reactions. It doesn't work like that. If you want new outcomes, you need new behavior. And if you want new behavior, you need to respond with intention, not react out of habit. Remember this. Your future is not shaped by what happens to you. It's shaped by how you choose to respond. And every time you choose intention over reaction, you are rewriting your story. One decision at a time, letting go of the stories that no longer serve you. One of the most powerful, yet most dangerous things in your life is the story you tell yourself. And here's the truth. It's not your situation that's holding you back. It's your story about the situation. Every person alive has a story running in the background of their mind. It's the narrative we repeat to ourselves over and over again. And over time, we start believing it so deeply that it becomes part of our identity. You've heard these stories before. You may even be living one of them now. I've always been like this. I'm just not confident. I'm too old to start over. I'm not smart enough. I never finish what I start. I always get hurt. I'm just unlucky. But here's the question that changes everything. Who gave you that story? Where did you pick it up? Was it from childhood? A failed relationship? A moment of rejection? A painful experience? Chances are you didn't write that story. It was written for you and you just kept reading it. But here's the truth no one tells you. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the limiting beliefs others projected onto you. You are the author of your story, and you can rewrite the script at any time. If your story makes you feel powerless, it's time to let it go. If your story convinces you that you're not enough, it's time to silence it. If your story keeps leading you to self-doubt, sabotage, or shame, then understand this. That story is not the truth, it's just a pattern. And patterns can be broken. So how do you change the story? Start by speaking new words over your life. Every day, affirm who you are becoming, not who you were. As of, I'm not who I used to be. I'm learning, I'm evolving, I'm getting stronger. I deserve peace, success, and love. I am not a victim, I am a creator. You don't have to believe it fully at first. But the more you speak it, the more it takes root. The more it takes root, the more it shapes your behavior. And behavior creates results. Letting go of the old story doesn't mean forgetting your past. It means refusing to let your past define your future. It means recognizing that the voice of limitation is not the voice of truth. You get to decide what story drives your life from this day forward. Will it be one of fear or one of courage? Will it be one of survival or one of power? Will it be one of excuses or one of action? Because the story you believe becomes the life you live. So today, tear out the pages that don't serve you. Drop the pen of self-doubt and write something bold. Write something unstoppable. Mastering discipline over motivation. Let's clear something up. Motivation is a myth, at least the way most people use it. If you wait to feel motivated before you act, you stay stuck in the same cycle for the rest of your life. Because motivation is emotional, fleeting, unpredictable. Some days it's there and some days it's nowhere to be found. You can't rely on a feeling to build a future. You need something stronger. You need discipline. Discipline is what shows up when motivation disappears. It's the part of you that says, I don't feel like it, but I'm doing it anyway. It's the muscle that keeps you going when your emotions try to drag you back into the comfort zone. Most people repeat their old patterns not because they're weak, but because they haven't developed the habit of pushing through resistance. They wait for inspiration. They wait for the right mood. They wait for the perfect timing. But guess what? Winners don't wait. Winners create momentum through consistency, not through temporary hype. Look at anyone who's achieved something great. An athlete, an entrepreneur, an artist, a leader. They didn't always feel inspired. They just made a decision. I will show up even when I don't feel like it. And that's what separated them from the millions who stayed stuck in cycles of excuses. Discipline is what builds habits. And habits are what shape identity. When you wake up and keep your promises to yourself, no matter how small, you start to believe in your own strength. You begin to trust yourself. And that trust becomes your power. It could be something simple. Waking up at the time you said you would. Finishing what you started. Eating with intention instead of impulse. Saying no to distractions, even when they are tempting. These acts may seem small, but they're not. They're votes for the future you're creating. And each vote moves you further away from the patterns that once defined you. Remember this. Old patterns are easy. Discipline is hard. But only one of them leads to transformation. If you always give in to how you feel, your life will be ruled by inconsistency. But if you train yourself to act on what you've committed to, regardless of how you feel in the moment, that's when you begin to change. You don't need more motivation. You need more movement. Because action creates clarity. Action creates progress. And most importantly, action creates belief. So today, stop negotiating with your old self. Stop waiting for the perfect energy. Decide who you want to become and let discipline carry you there. Discipline is how you break the cycle. Discipline is how you build the new you. And discipline is how you win, one action at a time. Write the story you were always meant to live, becoming the creator of your life. This is the part where you stop surviving and start creating. Because here's the ultimate truth. You are not a victim of your patterns. You are the architect of your future. You don't have to live on repeat. You don't have to carry your past like a curse. You don't have to keep reacting, running, or relapsing. You can change. You can choose. And you can create a reality that reflects your highest potential. But it begins with a decision, a real one. Not a wish. Not a temporary burst of motivation. Not a maybe someday. It starts the moment you say, with conviction, I've had enough. Enough of repeating cycles that lead nowhere. Enough of staying small because of fear. Enough of letting your past dictate your path. Because you weren't born to live in loops. You were born to evolve. Listen, life will always test you. People will doubt you. Your old patterns will try to pull you back like gravity. But every single time, you choose differently. Every time you override that old programming, you'll reclaim a little more of your power. You are not meant to be a passenger in your own life. You're not here to watch everyone else rise while you sit on the sidelines, trapped in the same habits. You are made to lead, to rise, to rewrite the narrative, not just for you, but for the generations that come after you. You must become the creator of your reality. And let's start by asking better questions. What kind of life do I want to build? What kind of person do I want to become? What patterns I need to destroy to make space for that future? And then take the first step, no matter how small, no matter how uncomfortable. Because every step you take in alignment with your higher self weakens the grip of your lower self. Stop waiting for the right time. There is no perfect moment. The pattern ends when you say ends. And the new life begins the moment you take responsibility. You are not powerless. You are not too late. And you are not broken beyond repair. You are powerful beyond measure. And your future is shaped not by your intentions, but by your daily actions. Start acting like the person you want to become. Start showing up as your future self now. Speak with confidence. Walk with discipline. Live with clarity. Right? Because success doesn't come from chasing something out there. It comes from creating something in here, inside your mind, your habits, your belief system. So don't just break the pattern, build something greater in its place. Create discipline, create focus, create boundaries, create momentum, create your future. Because at the end of the day, your life will either be a reflection of the patterns that held you back or the choices that pushed you forward. You decide. Now you've seen it. The truth is no longer hidden. Buddy, you've just walked through the steps. You've heard the truth about your patterns. You've realized that your habits, your reactions, your beliefs, they're not fixed. They're not final. They're just familiar. And what's familiar is not always what's right for you. Because what holds you back isn't something out there. It's what keeps repeating in here in your mind, in your daily choices, in the way you see yourself. But here's the most important thing I can leave you with. As you said, you're not your pattern. You are your possibility. You don't have to keep repeating the same story. You don't have to let the past predict your future. You don't have to keep shrinking when life invites you to rise. You're allowed to rewrite your identity. You're allowed to leave behind the habits, the thoughts, the people and the behaviors that no longer serve your vision. You're allowed to evolve, but no one can do it for you. No one is coming to push you out of your comfort zone. No one is going to stop your old patterns for you. This is your fight, and this is your responsibility. Because growth isn't a moment, it's a decision. And if you want real change, that decision has to happen every single day. You wake up and remind yourself who you are becoming. You choose discipline over distraction. You choose healing over hiding. You choose the future over your past. And on the days you slip up, because you will, you don't give up. You catch yourself. You course correct. Yeah, you continue. Because that's how freedom is built. Not in one giant leap, but in thousands of micro decisions to do better, to be better, to break the old and build the new. Remember, you are not starved. You are simply living by a script that's no longer aligned with your destiny. But the pen is in your hand now. So what will you write? A story of excuses? A story of regret? Or a story of radical transformation? Let the old version of you rest. Let the tired patterns fade. And let today mark the beginning of something greater. A new pattern. A new rhythm. A new you. You don't need more time, you need a decision. You don't need more approval, you need commitment. You don't need permission to rise, you already have it. So stand up, show up, and break the patterns that have held you hostage for too long. Your next level is not waiting on anyone, it's waiting on you. This is your time, this is your turning point. And this is where everything changes.